I wanted to just start out, first of all, by asking folks, do you know the expression that your ears are burning? You know what that means? That means that somebody is maybe talking about you. Well, this is the first time I've ever been able to think about that expression as it relates to an entire community. Because the entire community here in Erie should have the sense that there are a large number of other communities that are watching your work and that are very impressed by how you've organized your work and how you've moved that forward. For example, I had a keynote in Toronto at the International Collective Impact Summit last year, and I told the story of ErieTogether. And many communities are saying, how are they doing it? How are they able, this is the 6th forum, 6 years that we've been able to gather this number of people, this kind of energy together to be able to move our community forward. And so what I wanted to do is maybe take a few minutes and just talk a little bit about what it is that I think is special about ErieTogether and what other communities are seeing. First of all, I think there's a real difference between ErieTogether and some of the other collective impact movements that almost parallels your history. And as you know, collective impact is a movement that's actually taking place around the world in terms of how to gather more and more community energy to be able to achieve outcomes. And in Toronto, we were talking about what it makes ErieTogether so special, to be able to sustain this work, to be able to even drive the work more forcefully to achieve outcomes. And I think the first key was ErieTogether came around an aspiration, not a problem. There was a discussion in terms of we want the Erie region to be a place where we can learn, work, and thrive. And by having that direction more about where it is we want to go, as opposed to a particular area of focus, it allowed all of us to be able to see what our role could be in terms of achieving that outcome. So I think that was a crucial difference that we saw just in terms of the starting point, because that allowed us and your team to do on an ongoing basis is to really get clarity about a target and then say, how do we align our work to that target? I was telling Carla, who is at our table this morning, about the community justice. That was one of the issues in Toronto that we were talking about, and a number of people throughout the US perked up their ears in terms of the work that you're doing around criminal justice here in Erie. And I was actually asked to visit Ithaca, New York, and I know Ithaca talked to Mary about that work. So in many ways, as you're moving this progress forward, I think it's very important for you to continue to reflect on the fact that you are having real impact, not only here in Erie, but across a large number of communities that are trying to learn the lessons of how it is that you're able to sustain this work, this level of community engagement that's represented by this room today, and the types of outcomes that you're able to sustain within your work. So I want to finish just by congratulating you and saying how pleased I am to be able to be with you on your 6th Community Forum. Thank you.
Thank you, Jay. Now let's move into the 2015 year in review. I'd like to start by giving you a little background, beginning with ErieTogether's aspiration statement, which is working together to make the Erie region a community of opportunity where everyone can learn, work, and thrive. This slide perfectly illustrates how ErieTogether works. There are a lot of great organizations and people in this region doing very valuable work, but often this work is being done within their own distinct silos. We are strongest and best able to affect lasting change, however, when we align our collective expertise and resources to accomplish important things. ErieTogether helps facilitate that alignment and collaboration among community, faith and business leaders, educators, social service providers, and citizens to identify and overcome barriers to self-sufficiency. That is collective impact, and that is the kind of movement ErieTogether is. Simply put, this movement is not comprised of a few people sitting around a room doing some good things in the community. ErieTogether is our community. It's all of us doing things differently and intentionally to make this a place where everyone can learn, work, and thrive. From our perspective, that means helping more children become successful adults, more individuals secure family-sustaining employment, and more families become self-sufficient. So let's focus on our early childhood efforts to start. Here's the challenge. Through 2015-16 data from 8 of our 13 school districts, we know that 51% of Erie County kids are not ready for kindergarten when they get there. That's based on a trusted indicator, first sound fluency, which is how well they can hear and produce initial sounds in words. That percentage is alarming and must be addressed. To that end, our early efforts included creating a definition of kindergarten readiness endorsed by all local school districts, a checklist of skills children need when they enter kindergarten, and a progress chart for families to use to record their children's milestones and accomplishments. Our next logical step, and a main focus of 2015, was to create and distribute training kits to parents and caregivers so they can easily work with their children to improve their kindergarten readiness skills. Through our initial pilot of nearly 100 kits, we found that 94% of parents increased their knowledge of the importance of kindergarten readiness, 95% gained greater understanding of what it means to be kindergarten ready, and 92% increased their interactions with their children to improve kindergarten readiness. Additionally, 88% of children reportedly demonstrated an increase in kindergarten readiness skills. The kits work. Now our focus is to distribute 1,000 of these kits into the community each year through 2017. We are currently collecting and analyzing the data on 750 kits we distributed to date this year, and we will be doing the same for 2016 and 2017. If you are interested in the kits, please contact me at mary@erietogether.org. Our goal with all of our kindergarten readiness work is to increase the percentage of children ready for kindergarten to 64% by the end of 2017. A second challenge we face in our community is that 30% of Erie County children are not hitting third grade reading proficiency benchmarks. That's significant because up until third grade, kids are learning to read. After that, they're reading to learn. If they can't read proficiently in third grade, it's likely they will remain behind all the way through school. So it's important for our community to understand this challenge and to connect with resources we have locally to help. And for that reason, in 2015, ErieTogether launched its Block by Block Early Childhood Readiness and Success campaign. The purpose of the Block by Block campaign is to help families understand the importance of quality early childhood education and early literacy, introduce them to engaging learning activities, and connect them to available resources so they can give their children the best chance at a bright future. In 2015, we held 6 events throughout the county, 3 in the city of Erie and 1 each in Mill Creek, McCain, and Corey. We chose these locations based on poverty rates, high populations of young children, and low penetration of Imagination Library free books for kids registrations. Through the events, we reached nearly 170 people, got many new registrations for the Imagination Library, and generated several referrals for local programs like Erie's Future Fund and others that support early childhood readiness and success. Looking ahead, our intent is to expand the Block by Block campaign and make a strong push for participation in local literacy support so that 73% of third graders will be reading at or above proficient by 2020. And finally, to round out our early childhood work, we will continue our focus on easing and enhancing kindergarten transitions, increasing on-time registrations for kindergarten, and promoting participation in high-quality early learning programs. Now, I'd like to show you how we're supporting older student success, helping them best prepare for success in life after high school. An important piece of this is career exploration, so students can experience various careers and consider how they compare to their interests and aptitudes, as well as the quality of life they hope for as adults. Through ErieTogether, our community has set a goal that 80% of local students participate in 3 or more career exploration experiences by the end of their 8th grade year. These experiences include company tours, class speakers, job shadowing, internships, career fairs, and a number of other types of activities. We chose 8th grade because at the end of that year, students are asked to make decisions about whether or not to pursue career and technical education in high school or strictly an academic curriculum when they get there. It's very difficult for students to make those decisions without being exposed to opportunities. So here's the challenge. Right now, only 14% of Erie County 8th graders report having 3 or more career exploration experiences by the end of 8th grade. We have a long way to go to hit that 80% goal. The good news is we have a tool to help us do it, and that's Career Street. Career Street was born out of concerns of the business community and educators. Employers were saying that kids were coming out of high school ill-prepared to serve their needs, and educators were expressing a strong desire to have more interaction with employers so they could help better prepare their students. What Career Street does is bring local employers, educators, and nonprofit organizations together around a common goal, which is exposing youth to a variety of careers that exist throughout Erie County. An important piece of this is an interactive website at www.careerstreeterie.org that helps make the matches. Since Career Street's launch in February 2014, we've made some important progress. 97 businesses and 41 schools are registered. There are 116 available experiences, and 131 matches have been made, impacting 7,288 students. It's imperative, however, that we deepen the usage of Career Street by schools, employers, and nonprofits alike if we're ever going to reach that 80% goal. So if you are an employer of any kind, private, for-profit, not-for-profit, or government, please commit to participating by registering through the website or contacting Career Street's executive director. We have flyers on the table with tear-outs. If you need to find a way to register, that tells you everything you need to know. If you are a K-12 educator, please become familiar with Career Street and use it to incorporate career exploration into your lesson plans. Our community and our students will be much better for it. Looking ahead, we hope to hit the goal of 80% of 8th graders with 3 or more experiences by the end of 2018-19 school year, and we intend to heavily promote Career Street to do it. This, combined with our additional efforts to connect caring adults to local youth, engage kids in their community, and help students better prepare for what comes after high school, should help us hit another important target we're aiming for, which is that 90% of Erie County students graduate high school on time by 2020. So that concludes the learn-related efforts we wanted to showcase today, and now we'll move into work, where our focus is to help more Erie County residents secure and maintain family-sustaining employment. So here's the challenge. According to the PA Department of Labor and Industry, in September of 2015, Erie County had 7,400 unemployed people and over 4,000 online job postings. That says a couple of things. Employers are having a difficult time finding and keeping qualified candidates, and job seekers aren't pursuing or successfully obtaining and retaining those jobs. There could be a lot of reasons for that, not the least of which include the barriers that job seekers often face, like a lack of skills, transportation, language barriers, criminal history, and a whole host of others. With that in mind, ErieTogether is taking a multifaceted approach to supporting and helping connect employers to job seekers. We started that work really zeroing in on soft skills issues to help people proactively looking for jobs better understand employers' expectations. To that end, we developed a great brochure called Ready, Willing, and Able, Keys to Getting and Keeping a Job that gives a comprehensive picture of the kinds of things employers expect from their employees. It also identifies support services that individuals can connect with if they need help in overcoming certain barriers. We've distributed thousands of these into the community and also provided them to local employers and school districts for their use. A second focus of ours has been to bring individual employers who are having a hard time finding employees together with multiple community groups, like social service agencies, clergy, and others, to help fill their job openings. Through these meetings, employers are able to clearly describe their employment needs to the community groups who can then look within their current client base and networks to make appropriate candidate referrals. We've done this a handful of times so far, and we've seen some success. For instance, as you may remember from last year's forum, we helped EmergiCare fill its inaugural EMS Academy class for individuals interested in becoming EMTs. This year, we had a couple of additional successes, with the first one being Printing Concepts, a local commercial printing company. Through this process, they received 23 applications, interviewed 14 people, brought back 5 for a second interview, and filled their positions. A third success involved Preferred Systems, a local provider of continuing education and pre-licensing training, who was recruiting candidates for local unions involved in large-scale construction jobs. Through this process, Preferred Systems received a number of candidate referrals from local agencies, connected 9 of those to job readiness training through GCAC, sent 11 people for assessment testing at CareerLink, with 5 candidates passing that test and then being referred on to the local unions. 3 of those 5 passed the union apprenticeship test, and 2 of those 3 are now working, making over $15 an hour plus benefits. These 2 have landed not just a job, but a career. The next piece of ErieTogether work I'd like to highlight involves helping individuals overcome prior criminal justice system involvement to successfully re-enter Erie County from federal, state, or county correctional institutions. Over the last 2 years, ErieTogether has facilitated the work of the Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance Planning Group, which is part of the 3-pronged Unified Erie approach to violence reduction in our community. The 3 prongs are prevention, enforcement, and reentry, and we need them all working in tandem to successfully curb violence here. We are finalizing plans to create the Erie County Reentry Services and Support Alliance, or ECRSSA, which will be a one-stop shop to connect former offenders with the community supports they need to become productive citizens and avoid future criminal activity. We've learned that support from former offenders and that support that former offenders need are often the same supports that new or potential offenders need, so we are pairing our reentry plans with Unified Erie's enforcement-related gun violence reduction call-in efforts. The plan we finalize at the end of this year will address access to housing, transportation, education, employment, mentors, and other supports like mental health, drug and alcohol, and medical resources. We've crafted a lean organizational structure to lead the ECRSSA and have identified a local partner, UPMC Hammett, to house the positions we need. We are now in the process of securing funding for the strategy's launch, which we anticipate will take place within the next couple of months. Additional areas of focus in 2015 have been envisioning a strategy to overcome diversity barriers within the workplace and increasing employer and job seeker satisfaction with workforce development supports. We're just laying the groundwork with these 2 efforts now, and we'll have more to report at next year's forum. Finally, looking ahead, our intent is to continue our efforts to help low-income and minority workers secure local jobs, finalize and launch the ECRSSA one-stop shop in the community, and distribute 5,000 work readiness checklists in the community in both 2016 and 2017. And that sums up our work efforts for 2015. Now, before we move into Thrive, I'd like to call attention to a really fantastic example of aligning efforts and resources to make our region a place where everyone can learn, work, and thrive. This bridges both the work and Thrive buckets, so I thought I'd mention it here. Recently, EMTA and a number of others in our community did something very important to help individuals in the South County, Corry and Union City, overcome transportation barriers. In May of 2014, ErieTogether met with EMTA's leadership to talk about transportation challenges in our community, including those in the South County, which were also indicated through Emerge 2040's survey work. EMTA was immediately responsive, working with community agencies like the Corry Redevelopment Authority, the Union City Family Support Center, and others to further survey residents and determine specific needs related to employment, access to medical care and other services, and traveling to other places of interest. As a result, EMTA added service in Corey, will soon be adding service in Union City, and will be connecting Union City and Corey together through service in the coming months. This is a really tremendous example of how organizations are working to achieve our community's aspiration and strengthen our region. Thank you to all involved in this very important work. Okay, so now let's move into Erie Together's Thrive-related activity, which is helping more individuals meet their basic needs, or in other words, become self-sufficient. As we begin to review this, I'm reminded that in 2012, United Way of Erie County issued a bold challenge to our community, now known as the Live United 2025 goal. That challenge is to reduce the number of families struggling to meet their basic needs by 1/3 by 2025. Erie Together's entire body of work, and in particular our Thrive efforts, are very mindful of this goal. So let's put some numbers to it. Here's the challenge. Based on the latest data from Pathways PA, we know that 25% of able-bodied working-age adults in Erie County aren't self-sufficient. That equates to about 17,000 families. When you add into the mix households headed by senior citizens or disabled people, that number becomes 30,000 families, which is another alarming statistic. So let's move away from the numbers and think more about the lives of low-income families. They have a lot of difficult decisions to make every single day. Maybe they need to figure out how to feed their children at the end of the month when they're out of money and food stamps, or maybe the car won't start and they need to get to work so they can hold on to their job. Or maybe they need childcare arrangements because they've fallen through and that's further threatening their livelihood. These situations and many more are very real for low-income families. So it's important for individuals who are struggling with self-sufficiency to know how to connect to the resources we have in the community to help them address and overcome their issues. One way they can do that is through the Gannon Human Services Directory, which was revamped and relaunched in response to needs identified through Erie Together. So this is a screenshot of the Gannon Human Service Directory, which is searchable by service category as well as alphabetically by agency. The directory can be found online at hsd.gannon.edu and is also available in print form for a fee by emailing hsd@gannon.edu. The directory contains information on more than 900 community-based social service programs. As you can see from this slide, it includes a brief description of each program, along with current contact information to help users access local supports. The information in the directory is given to Gannon University by the provider agencies themselves, and Gannon updates the online directory quarterly. So we've placed business cards on your tables with the information on how to access the directory if you'd like to take one with you. The Human Service Directory's usage as of the end of October is reflected here. In the 14 months since its launch, there have been 24,620 page views, with the average time spent on the site being 3 minutes and 38 seconds. In the last month, the visitor mix included 70% of new users and 30% of returning users. So if you need help or know someone who does, please take advantage of this resource. Now, looking again at the lives of low-income families, it's important to understand that people who struggle with meeting their basic needs often live in what we call the tyranny of the moment. They're just reacting to current situations and putting out fires, and they are not able to adequately plan for their future. So to that end, a big piece of Erie Together's Thrive efforts are designed to help individuals move from dependency to self-sufficiency through education, self-assessment, and a mentoring experience. That is our Family Action Team, or FACT process, also known as our Getting Ahead initiative. The FACT process is a very structured approach for working with families, including the steps that are shown on this slide. We work with local organizations to recruit and train program facilitators, identify and engage families in a 10-week Getting Ahead curriculum, recruit and train mentors, and match mentors with participants. As part of this process, participants are asked to set and work toward a number of personal goals to become more self-sufficient. Their mentors then provide them with the moral support they need to succeed. This year, ErieTogether trained 17 new FACT facilitators, engaged 5 new organizational partners, and saw 57 participants complete the FACT program. With respect to participant accomplishments, we've seen some great things happen. Since we started offering FACT, 219 people have participated and made some very significant changes in their lives. Some have purchased homes, while others have paid off debt. Some have furthered their education, while others have gained employment. Some have improved their health, while others have saved money. The slide that you are about to see when it gets advanced, Nicole, it shows the impressive results that our FACT families have been able to achieve through the hard work and the ongoing support of their mentors. Looking ahead, we intend to engage 4 new organizations, train 8 new FACT facilitators, and engage 40 new FACT participants each year. The outcomes we are aiming for are that 80% of participants will achieve 1 or more of their self-sufficiency goals within 18 months. And that is ErieTogether's 2015 year in review. For more information on what we highlighted today, or more information about our comprehensive body of work, please visit our website at erietogether.org.